So it's 8 o'clock in the newsroom. Leslie, what are you going to talk about?
What would you like me to talk about? I mean, there are plenty of things that I can talk about being in the technology space. So, what's uppermost in your mind?
I think I'm very intrigued to know about this Microsoft Surface tablet. It seems to be on all tabloids, newspapers, people giving reviews. What do you think about it?
That's a very interesting question. In fact, actually, I was just discussing it with some of my friends, and I'd also written a piece on what's beneath the surface because I thought that was much more appealing than speaking about just what the Microsoft tablet PC was. But before that, I would like to speak about something which even my friends were intrigued about. I said, I was actually telling them that the term tablet PC was made popular by Microsoft and not by Apple. But there were a series of failed attempts by Microsoft. It just couldn't get its act together as far as the tablet PC was concerned. Look at the Surface tablet PC. Well, we had not done a review on it, but at the same time, going by reports, it has only Wi-Fi option. Now, Wi-Fi option in these times looks like such an antiquated idea. Then also look at the other part. Okay, fine. The positives are Gorilla Glass. The other positive is that it has got a Windows RT or the Windows Phone 8, a new operating system that helps it to multitask and do other kind of things. But does Microsoft have the kind of distribution network that say an Apple or a Samsung have? No way. I hope so for Microsoft's sake that it manages to get its act together. Apple has succeeded basically because of its integration with the software and the hardware. Now, Microsoft is not one of those companies that is really known for because you have had plenty of software glitches, those kind of things. Marrying software with hardware is a different business altogether. Uh, does Microsoft have the credentials in that area? It's a question mark at this point in time. So I hope for the company's sake it gets this act together.
Okay. Let's hope Microsoft gets its act together. Let's talk of something else. What else do you have for our viewers? Tell me something about Facebook.
Facebook. That's an interesting question because I love Facebook for the simple reason that it's almost a country by itself. 900 million users, 51 million users in India. So there's much to speak about in Facebook. Yes, it has got a massive problem as far as privacy concerns are concerned. Then it also Facebook also has this whole thing of whether social media networking by itself is too much hype, and that has reflected part because when during the recent IPO when the stock prices fell, the interesting tidbit around it is that the stock price has moved 10% above the thing, though it's still below the listing price. Does that mean that things are looking up for Facebook? Perhaps the skepticism still remains, but there is also a probability that investors are saying, okay, let's take a second look at this company and see what can be done about it. But I think that skepticism at this point in time is healthy, given the the slowing global economy as such.
But don't you think Facebook is somehow in the right place at the right time, considering the dynamics of the digital media? Look at the advertising on the social media platforms, the amount of revenues is able to generate for digital advertisers and marketeers. And let's face it, I mean, even though it might not be a great treat for intellectuals, it still is being used by as many people as you're talking about. So, and adding to that, they've made interesting acquisitions. They've taken up Instagram, which was again a very popular app. Given that, don't you think it's strange and ironic that the offering has not been as great as it should have been?
See, you made a very interesting point, but also remember that there are hype cycles, and Gartner puts it very well. There are quite a few hype cycles that are there in the technology industry. Perhaps this also has reached a maturity level, which again brings me back to the original topic of where you spoke about Microsoft tablet PC. The whole question is whether companies enter when the hype cycle is already peaking, or whether companies are making most of the first movers advantage. Take for instance what Google did to Microsoft. That's what Facebook did to Google as far as social networking is concerned. If you recall, Google had Orkut, which was a highly popular social networking site. Everybody wanted to be on Orkut. Now today, who wants to be on Orkut? So that's a big question. Google tried it again with Buzz. Did it succeed? There's hardly any buzz around Buzz. So these are kind of questions that one has to weigh and make the right decision. But I'm sure these companies know what they're doing, but they could make mistakes by sort of trying to ride on a cycle when it's already peaked. I have some interesting tidbits which perhaps you might,
Okay.
our viewers might find it a little interesting. Take, for instance, scientists at the Stanford University, they have created what is known as the iBrain. This is not an Apple product, okay? This is something that will help these researchers translate brain waves onto a computer.
Okay.
And guess whose brains they are chewing?
Let me guess it. Let me guess this.
Okay.
Is it Stephen Hawking?
Yes, it is Stephen
Fantastic.
Hawking. So, have you read The Grand Design?
Well, I do have it on my bookshelf, but I haven't read it as yet, and I have to accept.
Okay, so that's his latest book, and then of course he had The Brief History of Time, and he's a British theoretical physicist, as most of you know, and he's completely paralyzed and communicates to a speech generating device, and yet can communicate his thoughts so effectively. Now they are trying to study his brain, and I thought that was amazing. And what more do I have for you? There's a very interesting research done by Microsoft, which is on why this research is basically revealing why spammers say that they are from Nigeria. So you have seen these Nigerian fans like "Dear Sir, Madam." Immediately you know that you can junk it very comfortably, and most of us feel that okay, fine. Why are these guys so silly in their approach? But these Microsoft researchers have come up with a very interesting angle. They're saying that these guys, the people who say I'm from Nigeria, know exactly why they're saying it. They do it deliberately because they want to sort of sift out all the so-called intellectuals from that crowd. So immediately they get a very nice, niche, gullible target group, and they know that these guys, they know that these gullible guys are the ones who are going to give us their money.
Talking of Nigeria, I've heard some news from Ethiopia as well. Do you have some news from there?
Ethiopia has banned the use of voice over internet protocol. That's VoIP. Do you know what VoIP is?
Yes.
Okay.
Voice over internet protocol.
Absolutely. And essentially, it's a very interesting technology which uses your same internet concept and relays voice, which is known as analog, as digital data. So your cost of making a call is reduced to absolutely zero. So all that you're paying is the money that is meant for your internet connection. And a class example of this is your Skype. I mean, what better example can I give than other than Skype? In India, just last week, the government allowed the use of VoIP. Earlier, they had prevented it, saying that you cannot connect voice, the VoIP kind of technology to a PSTN, which is your landline phone, which is a fixed kind of phone. But now that they have allowed it, it's a wait and watch, and we're waiting for the government to implement this policy. Once they do it, I'm sure India also will benefit from this technology.
Thanks. That's a very interesting wrap up of technology. I'm impressed. Wow,
Thank
that's
you.
great. So that's Leslie DeMonte, our technology editor at Mint, giving us an insight of the technology sphere. And that's it we have for you for now. Stay tuned for more from Leslie DeMonte.
Thank you.